I actually filmed this video right before we moved, and it was so rushed and disorganized that I never ended up editing it. So here I am again, filming this again, and hopefully this is a little bit more organized and a little bit more put together than the last time I tried to do this video. So hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Carrie, and in this video I'm going to be doing our year in review for the 2022 to 2023 homeschool year. I don't know if I've mentioned this on here before, but the way that I approach homeschool is year by year. And what I mean by that is I don't homeschool all my kids every single year, but rather I am prayerful about each child and their individual needs, the needs of my family, the needs of myself, and I just try to do what feels right for that year. So last year, my eldest son attended an in-person charter school, and I homeschooled my second eldest son for his hybrid kindergartner / first grade year. And then my two youngest were also home, but they haven't been school age yet. Overall, it was a really good year with a lot of progress. It was probably my hardest year homeschooling though, because I had the two toddlers and my youngest one was phasing out of her naps. And so it was just really physically demanding. Lots of kids needing me at times that were inconvenient, which happens, that's just life. And so it just made it really tricky this last year. And I think it was a really good year. Like, I think we learned a lot, but I definitely got burnt out and had a harder time. My favorite thing from this last school year was probably catching tadpoles, which isn't even a part of our curriculum, but we just went on a little family hike and found some tadpoles, so we brought them home with us. We figured out what to feed them, and we watched them slowly develop arms and legs, which was so cool. And we didn't know what kind of species they were, but they ended up being these really beautiful little tree frogs. And then once they were grown, we went back to where we had found them and released them back into the wild. So that was a highlight for sure of our year. But let's talk about the different curriculum we used this year. And I'm gonna take you back to this table back here. I have it all laid out, so I'll show you everything that we used this year, and I'll go through it subject by subject to show you. So here is the massive amount of curriculum that we went through this last year. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with language arts. I can't even fit everything into this frame hardly, but we're doing the best that we can. Okay, so we are big All About Reading fans here. So no surprise that we loved it. My son actually finished level 2 this year, and I think around like March or April. And so we began level 3 and we got into, I think we did like the first 13 lessons. We're on lesson 14. So we started all About Reading level 3 and we got 13 or 14 lessons into it before the end of the school year. So we really love All About Reading. I highly recommend it. It is a favorite of ours. Okay, moving on to our next pile here. So we did complete Handwriting Without Tears, this workbook here. And I thought it was fun. It was just a good little practice workbook. I feel like this isn't super exciting, but I mean, it worked. We liked it. And then we did All About Spelling. Now this is something that we didn't complete all of, but I do really like their approach. And it can get like a little bit boring sometimes. And they have a newer version that they came out earlier with this year that includes an activity book. And I think that would have been really good because my son, I think, would have really loved that. But we did use this with my oldest son this summer, which I mentioned in my summer plans video, and it went really well with him. And I didn't feel like we needed the activity pages with him at all. So it probably just depends on your child's age. So my oldest son is 9, going into 4th grade, and we did this with him, and I think it went really well with him. But we did get, I'm trying to remember, I don't remember what lesson we finished on, like 17 maybe with my kindergartner / first grader. We got to about lesson 17 on that with him. And then we used Lightning Literature, and this was one that we also didn't finish. And to be honest, we wouldn't have done a grammar curriculum this year if it hadn't been required by his charter school. But that being said, we did enjoy it, and I like the picture book suggestions that were in here and how they tied the grammar into it. The grammar, I feel like, is gentle, and the workbook pages are very fun. Like, we never had a problem, no complaints doing these pages. It was always fun. And I wasn't sure if my son would understand the grammar assignments, but he did, and he learned quite a bit. Like, he remembered a lot, which was really cool to see. And the writing pages were probably his least favorite part, which is kind of surprised me since he likes to write. And so that was probably the hardest part of the curriculum for him. But I do have this fun book of different stories that he wrote in his little illustrations and stuff. So I will hold on to this because I think it's really cute. And then also you have like our Aesop's Fables that were really fun to read as well. And then we also used Explode the Code for the first time. Now my son does claim that he doesn't like it, but when he did do it, he seemed fine with it. The spelling in it is slightly advanced compared to what we were doing in the All About Spelling. But other than that, like, I thought it had some really fun activities in it, and I thought it was cute. So that's all about as far as he got. So about, what was that, 32 pages into it, because he wasn't a big fan. Let's talk about math next. So math was a bit of a journey this year. He finished kindergarten KB, and I have a whole video that I can link below comparing this with the kindergarten math with confidence. So we really enjoyed this. I have loved it, and I had the teacher's guide for this one. Then we moved on to level 1A, and I will say I don't think I like it as much as the kindergarten one, to be honest. I bought the home instructor guide this time, so maybe that has something to do with it. So I do prefer the teacher's guide because sometimes I felt like I was missing something, like the instructions were not as clear and it was harder to keep track of where I was without the pictures of the worksheets. But my son did still enjoy the worksheets in here, and I felt like he still was learning a lot. However, right as we were getting into adding numbers within 20, we decided to pause our math because I noticed that my son was still struggling with really simple things. Like, he wouldn't count on when adding, or he didn't know the number pairs that added to 10. And I knew that adding numbers within 20 would make so much more sense if he understood numbers within 10 first. And so we started using addition facts that stick, which is a 6-week program. It took us way longer than 6 weeks to complete it, though. And that is because he just didn't master the concepts as quickly. But I am so glad that we did this. I think this was a huge help. And then we picked up Singapore math again afterwards. And that was, I think it was a good break too, just to kind of mix things up. Because then it was fun to kind of go back and do these again. And just so you understand what I mean when I say I liked this better than this, I'll just give you a quick look inside. So the home instructor's guide felt a little bit less informative, and it was a little bit harder to keep track of where I was, like I said, because this one has the images of each worksheet as you go, which is really helpful, and I felt like it was a little bit easier to follow than the home instructor's guide. So it kind of just depends on preference. This one is definitely cheaper, and I think it has less pages. Obviously these are different. Yeah, so it has less pages. This is a different level, but you can see what those look like. We use Bookshark Science A for science, and we loved it. And I have a whole video on it, and I will link that down below in the description box. We did stop doing the experiments at the very end because I was burnt out and they took too much brain power for me at the end there. But I asked my son, this is what the experiments look like, I asked my son which books were his favorite, and he said that the Bees and Wasps book, this is upside down, the Bees and Wasps books was his favorite, and also the Rainforest book was his favorite. They're all upside down, aren't they? And for me, my favorites, I would agree. I loved all the different Usborne little readers here. These were probably all my favorite. The other ones are great too, but those are probably my favorite books for the year. So really, really loved science this year. So we used Bookshark for history as well this year, and I have a whole nother video going in depth about this one, and we loved it just as much as the science, or at least I loved it. I thought it was great. This is our timeline book. The spine book probably isn't my favorite. It's not bad, but I think it would have been cool to have pictures rather than only drawings in it. But I think it was actually pretty good. Like my oldest son actually will pick up this book and read it, as well as this one sometimes. This one's really fun. So we made lots of fun things with our hands on history as well. So that was for sure a highlight. And I asked my son what his favorite books were for history. And he said that the book Children Just Like Me, which is the only one that I don't own, was one of his favorites. He also really liked On the Run in Ancient China. And then the other one was You Wouldn't Want to Be a Sumerian Slave. Oh, and he did actually really like this one too. He also said this was a favorite, which is King Tut, and it's more of a early chapter book reader. And I would say this one was one of my favorites as well. This one was a favorite of mine, and then I think this one I would say was also one of my absolute favorites. And I actually looked up the author of this book because I thought it was such a sweet book. And it turns out that she has written several books about other places as well. And this is cool because it has a lot of information in the back that goes along with the history of it. And then it's just this really cute, child-friendly book. So really enjoyed history this year and would recommend Bookshark. I forgot. We also bought this Evan Moore geography workbook, and my son loved doing the stuff in here. We didn't get through all of it. It kind of just, I didn't pull it out as often. Like I said, you guys, I was a little bit burnt out. But he loved doing this, and I don't see him having any trouble finishing this off on his own because he did enjoy it. So it's just a really cute workbook. And that concludes everything that my son used for his hybrid kindergartner / first grade year. As I mentioned earlier, we make our school decisions year by year, and so by the time this video comes out, the next school year will have already begun. And this son that I spoke about in this video is going to be attending in-person school with his older brother this next year. And that was a decision that, there was a lot that went into that decision, but it's a decision that my husband and I feel really good about. So we'll see how this next year goes for him. My two youngest are going to be home this next year with me, and we are going to be doing preschool with them. And I am so excited to have some really, really fun things planned. So I will have some videos coming out about that in the next little bit. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested. Otherwise, let me know if you have any questions about this video, and I will see you in my next. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Bye.